Brian with Cajun Cardboard coming at you from the great state of Louisiana. And today we are going to talk about SGA, Shai Gilgeous Alexander, or Shai Gilgeous Alexander, however you want to pronounce it. Up and coming 2018 rookie card, monster, do everything, two-way point guard for the Oklahoma City Thunder, who was a team that we thought was going to be a cellar dweller, honestly, in the Western Conference of the NBA, and has more than slightly overachieved thus far, although I think reality is starting to set in. Again, everybody had high hopes for this team with Chet Holmgren coming in. They thought they were going to be long, rangy with Poku and Chet Holmgren in there. And then Baisley was showing some promise. And then you had Giddey and you had Shai Gilgeous Alexander. Trey Mann off the bench is a good player. Lou Dort's that kind of glue guy, veteran guy, the guy that would almost certainly shank you if you got into a street fight. Everybody needs one of those guys on their team, right? No, but seriously, Lou Dort's a scary-looking individual who wants to lock people up and get up under you and get into you and get nasty. Starting to shoot the ball a little bit better. But we're here to talk about Shai Gilgeous Alexander, but not just Shai and his development, but also his cards. And so I've got Cardladder indexes pulled up. First, let's take a quick look at some of the general indexes, which I like to do, even though all but two of them are red. A couple things stand out. Number one is that Culture is actually up 12%, which I don't care about. Outlier is up 7%, which I don't care about. That's just cards that don't fall within any other index. That's weird to me. Hockey's actually doing the best. Again, guys, I'm looking at percentage change for these indexes over the last 3 months. So hockey's doing okay, Pokemon okay. Then it starts to get bad. Vintage cards are not immune for this from this reset and this downturn, as we know. Baseball's here. What's interesting to me is that high pop cards, and this is crazy, right? This is going to defy logic. And what conventional wisdom would tell you, and what everybody's been saying, right, is that cards were overprinted. They're coming back to reality. The high pop cards are the ones that are getting hit the worst. Well, that may be the case over the last 18 months, but over the last 3 months, high pop cards are down 17%. High-end cards are down 4% more, and low pop cards are down 25.47%. So that's something interesting just to keep in mind. The Cardladder 50 is sort of like the Dow Jones. It's some of the most recognizable cards in the hobby, and not the highest grade, but like the most affordable. The Cardladder 50 is down almost a quarter, or 23.87%. Tennis and golf are getting absolutely demolished. That is no surprise. Football's down 34%, which surprises me a little bit because we're in season. I think a lot of that might have to do with the fact that football preseason tends to run up a little bit or not go down as much in this case of this season. And so it was maybe a little bit higher than the other sports, and so had a little bit further to drop to regress to the mean. Maybe that's just my theory. I don't know. But it does not surprise me that racing, tennis, and golf are down the worst, because just conventional wisdom would lead one to presume that all of the collectors out here who traditionally were baseball, football, basketball, hockey collectors, the big four, who might transition into these other sports, hoping for arbitrage and for investing. I think most of the people who bought into tennis, golf, and racing were not buying into those cards because they were collectors of those sports for years and years. In UFC, you can add that to the list. Those four, UFC, tennis, racing, and golf, I think most of the people that were in those were probably, I'm not saying all, so relax if you're one of those collectors, but I think a large number of the constituents of those cards and those indexes and those niches of the hobby were probably in there looking to purely invest. Buy low, sell high, make money, go buy more baseball, basketball, football, hockey. And when that's the case, when shit goes bad and it hits the fan, those will be the first cards that you would let go. In fact, I'm doing some of that right now. I am letting go of some really bad soccer investment cards that have gone in the wrong direction before I'm going to let go of my Jordans, before I'm going to let go of my Giannis, before I'm going to let go of my LeBrons. I'm going to ride it out with those, but I'm not going to ride it out with Timo Werner. I'm not going to ride it out with Pulisic. I'm not going to ride it out with fill in the blank auto racing guy who drives a car for a living, and some people think that's a sport. I'm not going to ride out Rafael Nadal or Federer or Andy Murray or whatever the hell else some of these people have invested in. And look, I'm not disparaging people who invested in that stuff. A lot of that stuff was really appealing to me. I think what happened was a lot of people were just like, Well, if Babe Ruth is worth this, Roger Federer or Djokovic, I should say, might be the Babe Ruth of this. Therefore, he should be worth this. And the same thing with your the auto racing guy, the Lewis Hamilton guy, or the Verstappen, or whatever their name. Those are the only two names I know. You know, he's the Mike Trout of auto racing, and Trout's worth X, and so he should be worth at least half of X, and then that's how we got where we got, and that's why these may be falling back as much as they can. All right, enough about the general indexes. We're here, so I'm going to click players. I'm going to type in SHAI. It's going to pull up SGA. Well, first let me show you. Sorry, let me do that again. So type in SHAI. We got Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. So over the last, well, first I should tell you, there's 161 not different, unique cards in his index, but 161 cards of various grades, right? And so if you had a PSA 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, that's 5 different cards, even if they were all prism based, right? So it's 5 different cards, even though it's the same card, 5 different grades, right? Just like BGS 9.5, PSA 10, SGC 9.5, that's 3 cards, right? So 161 data points, basically, 161 pathways, within the SGA index. Those cards, I ignore 24-hour volume because I don't really care. It's confusing to me. If I'm missing something here and I should really pay close attention to what the 24-hour volume is, I know what it is, but I really honestly don't care that much. What I care about is what the cards are selling for within that time frame. And so I don't feel like volume is very reflective of anything, because it could be a lot of cards selling for a depressed price, or it could be very few cards selling for a very high price. I want to know the price. I don't want to know the volume. That's just me. So I don't derive much utility from the 24-hour volume number, but I do derive utility from the 3-month percentage change. And this is going to be one of those pep talks, right? Because and I do this all the time, and I'm notorious, and people hate it because I try to bring some good news into the hobby in a time period where people are thriving on scams, scandals, fraud, hate speech, card bloodbaths, etc., right? We saw enough with the general indexes. Let's talk about something good. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is damn good. He's really good. He stepped at least into the conversation with the Trae Youngs and the Jaylen Browns and the De'Aaron, I would say beyond the De'Aaron Foxes, the Donovan Mitchells. He's right there in that conversation now, despite the fact he's kind of in limbo in Oklahoma City. But as we all know, players don't stay on the same teams for long. But Shai Gilgeous-Alexander cards, these 161 cards within the index, I should say, are up in the aggregate 65.27% over the last 3 months. That's pretty impressive. So let's take a closer look at what some of those cards are. When you click on his name, it pulls up a bunch of stats. It shows you how his index did what it did. It shows you how it's up 65.27%. It's it shows you what the lowest point the index was at, the highest point the index was at. Obviously, it jumped really big right here. I think that was that PWCC auction where people started selling some really rare high-end SGAs that maybe they were liquidating for a pretty good profit from what I saw. I did those PWCC recaps on the Luka Nation Network, and I recall maybe 2 or 3 weeks in a row, we saw absolute banger, just massive SGA cards. Like, we're talking some of the greatest SGA cards that have ever been bought or sold in the PWCC Premier and Weekly Auctions in quick succession. So there was a couple real big weeks there. So that might have attributed, that might be what we can attribute this gigantic spike to right here. But even post spike, if you look at the last 1 month, there you go, man. He's still running and he's still performing. He has leveled off a little bit. I think he was the number 1 ranked player in the NBA over the traditional 8 categories, points, rebounds, assists, steals, blocks, field goal percentage, threes made, and free throw percentage. But I think he's kind of come back a little bit to where he's maybe top 5 or 6, but still putting up crazy numbers and performing. I do think his field goal percentage, 3-point percentage, and free throw percentage is a little bit unsustainable. I'm not saying he's going to revert to where he used to be, which was not a good shooter at all, but I do think he's going to come back to the field a little bit because he was just shooting the ball too well. He just came out on a heater for like 20 straight games, and I just don't think that's realistic to expect him to continue to do that for 82 games. So let's go back to 3 months here. So there's your 3-month index here. We know it's way, way, way up, 65.27%. Let's click cards. There's all his cards. We've got them sorted from the biggest gainer all the way down to the lowest gainer, and some of them are losers. I want to type in PSA 10 just because it's going to be easier to kind of distinguish and compare apples to apples. And so the biggest gainer here is the Purple Wave PSA 10. Here's the next thing I'm going to do. I'm going to click on these cards. Boom. And it's going to pull it up over here. My face is in the way, but there's your card, right? So I'll try to remember to show you the card that we're talking about. I kind of want to skip through cards that only have 1 or 2 data points over the last 3 months. You know what I mean? Because that's not going to be as digestible, as dependable data. You want more dots on your graph. There's my graph. I want more dots. I've only got 2 dots. I've got one sale in October 30th. I've got another sale November 24th. There's just more potential for manipulation or unpaid items and things like that. Whereas if you had like 45 dots, the odds are 45 cards weren't shilled or 45 cards weren't unpaid. You know what I'm saying? So the more dots, the more data points you have in your chart over the last 90 days, the more dependable, digestible, predictable, and the more utility you'll derive from those charts. So let's keep going. So here's what's funny. Base Prism's dead, right? Well, not so fast, right? So pop 3,843. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Again, this card notorious for missing the rookie card shield that should be up here. I think I just remembered who it was. I think Jason Hart's card. Is his name Jason Hart? Is it Josh Hart? Josh Hart. I'm sorry. There was a Jason Hart that used to play as well, but I think it's Josh Hart. Sorry, I don't know why I said Jason. Josh Hart's card got the rookie shield in 2018 Prism. I think. Somebody correct me or at least make me feel like I'm not crazy. But Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, this is his rookie card, but it didn't get the rookie shield. So for the longest time, people bitched about that. But that's the card we're talking about, and here's your chart over here on the right, and you can see this card hit as low, and if we scroll down you can see it, the card hit as low as 25 bucks for a PSA 10 base card, and that was way back in September 18th, so that's almost exactly 3 months ago, so right at 90 days ago, 80 days ago, something like that. Look what the last 2 have sold for, 72 and 71, and while you're thinking, who gives a damn, Cajun, about 50 bucks? There's people out there that are probably sitting on 100 of these. There could be people sitting on 200 of these, right? If this was Anthony Simons, honestly, I had about 400 of those. So I know these are small numbers in the aggregate, but when you've bought in such great magnitude, it can turn into really good returns if you're willing to put the work in and move them. The issue is with cards like this at such a low price point, it's just such a pain in the ass to move all these cards. Another video that I'm coming up pretty soon that I'm going to do is I've just decided to consign some stuff to Rick Probstein. I've been waiting too long. I've been trying to do stuff with a local consigner. I've been trying to do stuff. I've had my son list stuff for me. I've had PWCC Weekly just move stuff from my vault into the PWCC Weekly. I've listed eBay stuff myself, even though I hate it and I can't stand doing all that and I can't stand shipping and all this and that. So I've recently decided to lean on Rick Probstein and give that a shot. Comment below and let me know what you think about Probstein, good or bad. I know, just leave out the shill bidding crap. So time will tell. I've sent him a lot. I sent him 387 slabs to sell, so we'll see whether they get paid or not. So that's neither here nor there. But that was a diatribe about trying to move low-end cards like this, $70 cards. But you got a $50 profit built in there after taxes and fees and whatnot. You're probably talking about 40 bucks a pop. If you had 40 of them, that's $1,600. That matters. In an economy like today's economy. So it's good to see that the base Prism's up. The base Prism's actually up 89%. Over the last 90 days. That's pretty cool. What about his rookie signature silver? How many? Okay, so good. We got 5 data points here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Up, up, up. A little bit down. It looks like, down 50 bucks, and then way up to 1,500. That is a much more rare card. These silver autographs, there's also a base autograph, but the silver autographs were significantly lower pop, and they're actually really good looking cards. I know people poop on sticker autos, but with Prism you don't really have a choice, and so this is his Prism rookie autograph. Don't be confused, there's also a Sensational Signatures autograph out there, and it might be from their rookie year, and I think they may even still call it a rookie, but this is the true rookie autograph within the 2018 Prism set. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. It's an armpit card because you can see his armpit hair. Pop 50. The card was $800 as recently as October 12th. That's about 66 days, or no, it's about 55 days from the time I'm filming this video, which you should see pretty shortly. I'm gonna pop this thing up pretty soon. And then the most recent one sold a month ago at $1,500. So the question would be, one of them hasn't sold. What did we say? Since November 19th. Today is December 8th. That's about 20 days. I wonder what the next one will sell for. Will it be another jump forward? I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments. This is the card we're talking about, by the way. His rookie signatures silver prism autograph rookie card. So $1,500 for that autograph silver prism is no joke right there. What about his purple pulsar? Not enough data points. I'm not going to look too much into that card. Just not enough data points. The same with the purple wave that we looked at. Just 2 data points. Let's keep on trucking. His red, white, and blue is going to have a buttload of data points. This card is only, this is probably the most populated of the non-base, right? So if you get to the non-serial numbered parallels from 2018, I'm trying to think. I think you've got Ruby Wave in 2018, correct? You've got green, you've got silver, you've got red, white, and blue. I guess silver would probably be the most common non-serial numbered parallel, unless I'm missing something. Y'all correct me. It's been a while since I've bought any 2018 Prism. I sure as hell bought my share of 2018 over the years, but it's been a long time since I've touched it. I've actually been liquidating them rather than acquiring more, but this is his red, white, and blue, so not the rarest card ever. Also not the greatest picture because it looks like orange, yellow, and blue, but it is red, white, and blue, trust me. I think this is the ugliest red, white, and blue card Prism's ever made. And I say that, and it is a disparaging comment. It reminds me of a barbershop. It's just ugly. And I say that because I personally, and I know most people are going to think I'm crazy, Cajun, you're nuts. I normally love the red, white, and blues. Dating all the way back to 2013, there was 2 variations: the Monster Box, there was the Pulsar, and then there was the Mosaic, red, white, and blue, blue, white, red. Starting in that year, I just think those cards are beautiful. That's just me personally. I know not everybody agrees with me, but this is the one year where I'm with you guys. These things are ugly as hell. 2019, I think, looks really good. John Morant's rookie year, I think, looks really good. But this is a pop 451, so not the lowest pop card. We've got, 38 data points over the last 90 days, so about 1 sale every 3 days. This card's up 66%, man. It's up $48.75 from the first data point to the last data point, with some selling as high as $215. That might have been after a night where he had like 38, 10, and 9 or something. He's done that a few times here and there. The last one sold for $122.50. Again, not a ton of money, but that's $50 a pop, man. And it's, in a market where we're just looking for anything that's going up. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is a shining diamond in the rough amongst a bunch of cards that are getting bloody and battered. What about his Optic base PSA 10? Another base card. Can you believe it? Here it is. The rated rookie Donruss Optic number 162 base card for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Last sold for $34.50. It's been as high as $62.50. So it's about half of what it sold for a week ago, which doesn't make a lot of sense. But there's enough data points to let you know it is up and steady up and to the right, so that's good. It's only up $13 from where it was, but it did sell for as low as $13.50. Shit, guys, it's $15 to grade with PSA. It's $17 if you factor in shipping and insurance, and there's no guarantee you're going to get a 10. But this is a pop 2,104 card, so not a rare card at all, just like his base Prism. Not quite that populous, but pretty damn close. And that card's even up 65%. What about some better cards? What about a few bigger cards? I'm guessing that this concourse, there's actually more data points than I thought for this concourse. So this is the 2018 Select Concourse Light Blue Prism. This card's actually numbered to 299. Okay. I think blue Prism's numbered to 199. I think red Prism's numbered to 299. So this is sort of the equivalent of the red Prism. This is the light blue Select. I think it pops. It's not exactly a perfect color match, but it's a shade of blue, right? So if you look hard enough, maybe it could be a color match. I know some people like to argue about that. It's only pop 36. So only 36 PSA 10s out there. It's serial number to 299. The card was as cheap as 157 about 2 months ago. 65 days later, card last sold for 255, and it's a steady 256, 255. It even got as high as 297, almost $300. So now we're talking about real money. If you bought at 157 and sold at 297, that's $140. That's pretty good good pop right there. But starting data points, ending data points up 62%. That's almost $100 aggregate profit. Again, we don't factor in eBay costs and taxes. Everybody should by this point know when I talk about numbers, you have to factor that stuff in. I'm not factoring that stuff in, so you've got to factor that in yourself. Donruss base, I think this is ugly. It looks just like the Optic, but it's just a little bit uglier. I don't like that copper Donruss symbol down there. That's still a $28 card. Again, there's a bazillion of them. That's why. So we don't want to talk about that. Let's get some more bigger cards. Only 2 data points on the red. Let's go with the blue because it's a color match. 3 data points. Okay. Well, 3 could be a trend. 2 could be an off. That's not quite enough. But 3, let's stretch it. $1,900 last sold. That's a big card, fellas. $1,900 for a color match Shai Gilgeous-Alexander blue prism, serial numbered to 199 that you see on your screen. The last one sold $1,900. It was less than a month ago. The card sold for $1,400. That's real money. Now we're talking. That's up $500 in right at a month. That's big money, fellas. That's big money. We've got a blue velocity, another color match. Blue velocity's up about 34%. There's plenty of data points here. 29 different data points. This one's a little bit scattered. People are I don't think everybody's on the same page as to whether or not they like this velocity. The first place that I ever noticed this, what they call velocity type pattern in the ultra modern world, this may not be the first place it ever appeared, but if you go, and this is what I'm talking about, see those like cross hatches in the background with no particular pattern or uniformity? The first time I remember seeing that type of pattern was on the 1992 Bean Team, right? Which everybody should be familiar with if you collect in the 90s or you collect 90s cards now. That 92 Jordan Bean Team, the Shaq Bean Team rookie card or insert rookie card, those are awesome. His Tiger Stripe, 4 sales points, 2,500, 2,800, 2,900, 3,200. That is real money. That's 624 difference from the first data point to the last, and 1, 2, 3 consecutive upward trending sales. So that's a good sign as well. You guys get the point. I just wanted to shine a little bit of light on my guy SGA. Again, from an element of transparency, I don't own SGA. I could probably, I can't show you my whole vault, but I could go into my PWCC vault and search Shai, and I promise you the answer is going to be 0. I don't own any, right? But he's somebody that everybody should keep an eye on. Again, the blue ice, is this a color match? I don't know. Let me know in the comments if you think this is a color match. People say it's a color match for Doncic, and it's the premier color match for Doncic. It's the same color. The Clippers uniform's the damn exact same color as the Dallas Mavericks. So if it's a color match for Doncic, it's got to be a color match for Shai Gilgeous. These were only serial numbered to 99. It's a pop 30 card as well. 2,500, 3,000, 3,050. So a pretty steady, predictable $3,000 card. Blue, yellow, green. Really seeing some undulations here, which is unusual because, guys, notice these charts. We haven't seen very many way up, way down, way up. It was mostly and again, there was some fluctuation, but it was mostly a steady up and to the right and not a crazy precipitous gain, but a pretty steady, predictable gain, which I think is what all of us in the hobby want to see now. We want to see a little more predictability, a little more stability. If a player performs well over a 2-game period, I don't want to see a card go up 10x like we did in 2018, 19, 20, and 21. I don't think that's good for the hobby. What I do think is good for the hobby is when a player like we looked at today, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, goes ape shit for 20 games and literally puts up the best statistics in the NBA across the board. You should see a sustainable, steady, up and to the right increase in the value of all of his cards across the board, and that's pretty much what we're seeing. Let me get you over here real quick. I want to show you how many of his cards are up over the last 3 months. And again, I've only sorted PSA 10s in here, so we're not looking at PSA 9s, BGS 9.5, none of that stuff. These are the PSA 10s. Look at how much green, guys. This is big. This is big. And then you've got a bunch that just haven't sold. So those are all going to be zeros. And then you're always going to have a couple here that are down, right? Only 4 are down. That's pretty impressive. 4 cards in the red, and I haven't really looked. Ruby Waves in the red. That might be a buy, right? So if all of his other color parallels, even the non-numbered color parallels, are up, the Ruby Waves only a pop 65, and it's only $161. One would ask, why? Why is this card down when the great preponderance of his other non-serial numbered parallels are up? Fast Break's another one, right? Fast Break's not really down. There's only 2 data points there. The Holo PSA 10 is another great example. Remember, in 2018, 19, 20, people used to argue, there was these huge proponents, right, with pitchforks and torches ready to kill everybody who thought Prism Silver was the king. And they wanted to say hollows are like, 1/20th the population, 1/30th the population, whatever. Yeah, that's probably true, but for some reason, the hobby spoke, and it's been sustainable. People want the silver prism, not the optic hollow. I don't really know why. That's just what the hobby decided. I was kind of on the side of logic, and I was like, damn, there's only 189 of these optic hollows. That's not a lot, and that's a pretty rare card, and it's pretty tough to grade, too. Watch, if I pull up PSA 9, there's going to be a shitload. Watch. 278, so significantly more. But these optic hollows are only $205. That's pretty impressive. Maybe that's a buy too. I don't know. I don't own any Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Guess what? I'm not buying any. I'm selling my ultra modern stuff right now. Not because I'm dead set that everything's worthless or gonna go to zero. That's not really the case at all. I just want to turn some of these ultra modern slabs that I have into cash so I can go out and buy more Michael Jordans. I've started having a lot of fun buying in the soccer market, specifically the World Cup Prism sets. I've kind of educated myself on that and learning about that. I'm still buying Damian Lillard rare, super short print, like gold prism, high end Damian Lillard RPA type stuff, or just patch auto type stuff, but primarily gold inserts and things like that. And then I'm always looking to buy more Giannis, more LeBron, more Jordan, and that's really it, guys. So I'm kind of moving some of my ultra modern stuff. So I've started looking at these index a lot more, and it would be really nice to be liquidating a player like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Like I have a whole lot of ultra modern De'Aaron Fox stuff and Kevin Porter Jr. stuff. It would be really nice if those players would pop off like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, so I could actually sell these for what at least is a profit over the last 90 days, right? It may not be, well, it probably would be a profit from my price point because I bought them way back in 2018, but it's nice to see that some of these cards are going up. So it's not all gloom and doom in the hobby. Anyway, hopefully you guys enjoyed this little journey. Again, I just rambled. I just wanted to click on the indexes, look at the general indexes, talk a little bit about my guy, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Again, I have no dog in this hunt. Any of you guys who went heavy on Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, congrats. Is it a time to sell him? Or after seeing all the charts that we've looked at, is it time to keep holding? Is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, is there room to grow on his cards? Or is it not such a rosy outlook maybe for the Oklahoma City Thunder for the remainder of the year? Do you think the Oklahoma City Thunder, without Chet Holmgren, with just Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Giddey, and then a bunch of G League guys around him, do you think that group can make it to the NBA playoffs, maybe get into play-in and sneak an upset or something like that? Would that even have an effect on Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's cards? I would think that the people that are buying Shai Gilgeous-Alexander cards today, or at least I would hope that the people that are buying SGA's cards today are not buying his cards with a 6-month exit strategy in mind, because if they are, I have a feeling they're going to be extremely, extremely disappointed, because I don't think there's anything good that can happen over the next 6 months. The absolute best case scenario would be that SGA continues to put up all NBA numbers, finishes the season, makes like a second or third team all NBA, probably third team to be realistic, kind of sustains himself as the cornerstone franchise player for the Oklahoma City Thunder. And then, maybe, their team probably starts to tail off sometime before the All-Star break if they haven't already. But certainly, I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. Maybe they could sneak into a play-in game. And then maybe they pick up somebody next year, make some moves, trade some of these young pieces and draft picks because they've got a buttload of draft picks. And then they can build something around SGA and Giddey and then really make some noise in the playoff going forward. So anyway, that's my thoughts on SGA. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. As always, I appreciate the time you spent on the channel. If you're not following me on the Luka Nation Network, go over there and subscribe to that as well. It's a podcast platform and a YouTube channel, LUKA Nation Network. I'm getting back to business here, so I'm going to put out some great videos for you guys and hopefully keep you educated, keep you entertained. I know I'm entertaining myself. I know I'm educating myself and learning a little bit more every time I click the record button. So as always, keep collecting, stay positive in the hobby, and peace.